Very simply put, the most amazing bit about digital technology is its ability to permeate nearly every facet of our life and our business. And today, we will be discovering how Wurth IT was able to enable MG Motor India in their production landscape by implementing SAP Architecture. And by doing so, MG Motor was able to efficiently execute new product launches and optimize their shop floor operations. To tell us how Wurth IT and MG Motor India collaborated, we have with us Manish Patel, the CIO at MG Motor India. Manish, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome aboard. And we have Lalit Gosavi, the Director of Sales and Marketing at Wurth IT India. Welcome, gentlemen. Manish, tell us about MG Motors in India, right? From a global brand and now a hot seller. What has your India journey been like? And what were the really large issues that you had to solve for with local expertise and intelligence?
So, Ashwin, you're right. We came in pretty late into the Indian automotive market. If we compare ourselves with the likes of Maruti Suzuki or Hyundai, the locals as Tatas and Mahindras, we were pretty much a new kid on the block. Okay, these guys, if you even right now, if you see Maruti and Hyundai command 70% of the market. Okay. Now, to penetrate into that, for any manufacturer coming into India is going to be a challenge. So, one thing that we were very clear in our thought process was that we would want to be different. Okay. And that different did not have a definition yet. So, we certainly wanted to be different from all the other OEMs. And a group of 5 people that at that point in time, including me, onboarded. And we said, what can we do different? So the first thing was, let's chalk out some core pillars on which we can build our brand on. Okay, we hadn't seen the product. We were not sure what product we will be launching. So let's define the pillars. And then basis that pillars, we define what product would we want. Okay. So we had 4 core pillars, and one of them was innovation and technology. Okay. Innovation moved from a product perspective and technology to support us, complete a 360-degree customer experience, right? So that's how we started our journey. How are we keeping up to date? Obviously, you said we are the first enabled internet car manufacturer in India. That's something different that we wanted to do. Okay, when we talk about technology, pretty much everything is given right now in a vehicle. So we decided that what could be a differentiator. So we said a big screen, and let's take the hands away from a consumer and avoid using a cell phone in a vehicle, right? So something more like a Tesla, but in India. So that's how we started innovating into our vehicle. Beyond the vehicle, obviously, customer experience was one of the other core pillars that we wanted to be working on. So again, right from the time a customer gets onto our website, to into our dealer showrooms, to taking a test drive, buying a vehicle, owning the vehicle, and then how do you ensure that he's going to be a repeat buyer for you? So that's one criteria. Second criteria was, if I had a hectare, how do I let Lalit know, hey, this is a great product to have, correct? So those were the kind of things that we went into. So when it comes to customer experience, it's more to do with internal innovation within an organization, the behavior of the people. And when it comes to away from the manufacturing facilities, it's more on product. So that's how we embarked on our journey. Thank God we are able to keep ourselves up. We have shifted the paradigm of connected cars. We do have some OEMs which have embarked on the journey. The challenge for us, again, because we were the first ones, how do we keep ahead of the curve now is the next challenge that we have on our hand.
Thanks for that, Manish. Lalit, coming to you. Why is Wurth, poised to be able to deliver the right solution for MGM's challenges here in India?
Yeah. So as I just was recalling what Manish was saying that they were a group of 5 people. I recall my first meeting with Manish in the Gurgaon office where there were only 7 or 8 people probably that time. And MG wanted to have their core pretty strong. So they and SAP, you all know, has a very proven product in the automobile, auto ancillary, and the manufacturing space. So they'd already finalized on the product. So what was remaining was to find the right partner, and we always went in as a partner than a vendor. We understood the business. We got our global expertise from the group that comes along from the automobile industry. So we don't just embark on the technical side of it. We have a strong domain experience also. I still remember the GST discussions that we were having, Manish, in the Gurgaon office. It was like a 2 hour discussion for GST. And we could give the confidence to Manish that we understand exactly all the nuances of GST coming in because that was at its nascent stage at that particular point of time. And we could kind of display our expertise in both these areas. And that was a challenging part for us also because we wanted to partner with somebody like a MG Motor, which is a big brand, coming into the market for the first time, a competitive market like India, and being a partner which is enabling them to kind of sell more cars. So we are not directly involved in selling the cars, but we are supporting the entire core right now, which enables them to have a smoother operation to sell the cars.
Fascinating. And this is something that I want both of you to chime in on. Why is SAP the solution that is, that is best suited for MG Motor India?
So honestly, Ashwin, it wasn't a group of 5 people. It was only 2 people who decided that to work with me.
Sorry. I saw 7-8 people, Manish. That's why I felt that it's a group of 7-8 people.
No, so only 2 people, which was me,
right.
and the erstwhile CFO that we had, right? So it was just 2 people. We said, let's go with Wurth. Okay, so we were the deciding guys. I think a blessing in disguise was that Wurth was also, in a way, partnered with our corporate office back in China. Okay?
Yeah.
So that made things a bit easier for us. Okay. So that's how Wurth is with us from day one. And yes, I know about the GST things. Even when it was not there as a future in India, we were thinking about it because we did not want to reinvent the wheel. The core thing about innovation within the four walls of the factory was we needed to have a very solid foundation of the application layer. And then brick by brick, as you launch more products, as you mature on processes, that's what you go on doing, right? Now, coming to your question, Ashwin, why SAP? Given the fact, okay, that I've been in automotive industry since last 25 years plus, right? My previous company, General Motors, I worked with SAP. I think it's a product affiliation that one has. And I don't say it just for the sake of saying, it's more to say with the integrity and the interrelationships that it has with the business processes and functions that you would like to enable for running your business smoother, making sure that your products are launched on time. And again, we did not look for SAP just within the four walls of the manufacturing facility. We went beyond that. So anything to do with our customer experience, which is sales, after sales, to a certain extent, marketing also, when we have our website or the experience cloud we call integrated with the DMS, which is running on SAP. It made a whole lot of sense to have everything on a single platform so that from an integration perspective, it makes absolutely it doesn't bring any issues for us. One more great advantage that we had, right? And you just talked about legacy. The good part is we never had any legacy in India, right? Yeah. So we started everything from a very clean slate. And if we had mistakes, we just rubbed it off and restarted. So that was the advantage we had.
See, from a group perspective, our relationship with SAP is more than 60 years now. So the parent company has been associated to SAP from 1960, I think, so more than 50, 60 years now. And we've been partners with SAP. We've worked extensively with SAP for some of the course because we were a large trading house dealing in different sectors. So bringing in that domain expertise for these different sectors with SAP was there with the group. So we always had that inclination within SAP, like Manish said, the affiliation and the inclination towards the product because you've been using the product for such a long time. And now with the IT arm of the Wurth, what we do is we service and provide services for SAP. So we bring in that expertise and give it to the customers. So that's why the affiliation was there. We were already there in the market with the services that we were to offer. MG came along. As Manish said, we had a China office. We had a relationship with the China office because we are a global brand. And that's how it made things better. And we knew all the nuances that are going to come in the local side of the implementation. So within India also, what are the nuances that are going to come? We knew that we could showcase that to MD. And that's how the partnership started 3-4 years back.
So Lalit, what were the types of customizations that had to be implemented by Wurth?
It was, like I always said, it's like a partnership, right? It was not us deciding. Everybody sitting on the table and defining exactly what they want to do and how they want. So initially, the production was not started. There were certain other modules that they wanted to implement, and they knew it was a joint discussion between the technical guys and their functional guys, and of course, they had the technical managers also, and Manish's involvement initially to define how the structure needs to happen. Because defining the structure at that particular point of time was very crucial, because now they've scaled up so much and they're dependent on the structure and the customization that they've already done way back 3-4 years back. So that was a joint effort which made everything successful, I guess.
So this is something I'd like to know more of. So how did Wurth approach MG Motor India's need to address, really complex shop floor requirements?
So as Lalit mentioned, right, at the beginning when we started the implementation, we started only with some core modules, which was more to do so with finance and controlling. We did not have a product in place. We did not have the plant in place, right? And 5 people could not define the processes for manufacturing or supply chain, purchasing and supply chain, and or for sales and distribution. So we said finance is the core. That's the structure that you need to have in place. Let's have that in place. And as and when we acquired the plant, as the organization matured, product finalized, and that's when we embarked on finalization of the process blueprints. Okay. Again, as Lalit said, we were not looking for a supplier, right? We were looking for a partner who could bring in more expertise, a different way of thinking as to how can we better innovate within our 4 walls. Both from an application perspective as well as from a process perspective. There is always a mindset, Ashwin, that I come from a certain OEM. That's how I have lived and done these transactions or processes at a given point in time. And that's what I'm comfortable with, right? So it was of utmost importance important for us to make sure that people left that mindset behind, right? They come with a fresh mindset, understand the processes. Obviously, a process first drawn at 30,000 feet, then coming down to 10,000, and then eventually ground reality, right? So that's how we started to define it. Once the individual functional processes were defined, that's the next step was to have it integrated with them, right? Each other. How well could they be integrated? How real-time the data availability would be there, what are the core things that are required to be having instantaneous availability of data. Again, at that point in time, thank God that we thought about critical things in supply chain, which actually is helping us right now because of the imbalance that has been created globally for the supply chain. Rescheduling our production basis the availability of parts, because we as OEM really do not have the visibility as to what's coming on to the next container, right? But when it lands up here, we quickly need to readjust our entire cycle of production so that the right inventories are there in place to start manufacturing again. Okay? So that's the beauty that we had. That's the flexibility that we built into the applications. And again, we never thought about COVID that time 4 years back. Okay? But actually speaking, we have this already inbuilt into our application, which is helping us a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I concur with what Manish is saying. So it was a well thought out kind of a plan and the architecture for the future. MG always knew the kind of goal that they wanted to kind of pursue. And that's how, with the leadership team and with the core team for implementing this particular product, it was a lot of brainstorming done on the table to define exactly what things should start, as you said, finance was the most critical part to start with. So laying down the structure in the finance was the first bit, and then slowly getting into other modules and integrating that. And when we were doing that also, it was always kept in mind the scalability aspect also, because at the point when it was implemented, there was no scale, there was no production also. But you had to keep in mind that there would be X number of cars that would be rolling out. There would be X number of suppliers, or the cars would be going to X number of dealership across the India. I still remember the dealership network was still getting established also at that particular time. So, I mean, hats off to MG also, because the vision that they had and the vision that they kind of translated to us to make that core much robust, which is now does not require any more customization, but just addition of stuff. For the simplest example is as they are increasing warehouses. So addition of those things in the system is what something is very easy right now, if that wouldn't have been done at the start of the project. So that made it very successful and that made it very smooth right now. So even today, when we are supporting the entire SAP landscape for MG, it is not much of a thing that we are doing in the support. There are not many tickets coming where you're changing a lot of things in the product, right? So that is the testimony of the base being created well.
So how does the SAP implementation really enable MGM to execute new strategies around, engaging customers, building revenues? Tell me more about this.
It's a very simple equation, Ashwin. I mean, we wanted to set the right foundation. We wanted to have a template in place, which is what Lalit was referring to, right? Once you have the foundation and the template, no matter how complex a product you bring in, or no matter how many products you bring in, it's going to be the same templated process, the same templated application, which you are going to reutilize it. Okay? Yes, it could be innovated in a different way. So I'll just give you an example. The first vehicle that we launched, Hector, everything was templated from a process perspective, bought in, and we started manufacturing it, no issues. Next one, ZSEV, a completely different platform altogether, right? It's an EV, no engine, nothing, but simple CKD operations. So not a problem, right? I mean, everything is templated. What you don't want is negate that and bring what you require inside again your application, and you are starting to do the same business process as you had done for the previous vehicle, right? A semi CKD operations with the third product that we launched, again, the same thing. We just took the same template and replicated it for the same product. Now, again, there might be a certain tweak that we might have to do from an applications perspective. CKD versus semi-CKD versus a completely built unit that we might import in the future, right? But again, it doesn't require a whole lot of application change. It requires minor tweaks. And that's the beauty about it, that once set, you don't have to rumble the foundation again to make sure that the product that you bring in next is going to completely come in and fit it.
So one of the things that we did jointly was from the start of the project that we always had a governance call with Manish and the leadership team always. So we could understand what the mindset of MG is also, where they want to head, what is happening in the plant. Because when we started, it was zero production to now so much amount of production. So having those calls with them and understanding the future roadmap that MG is also looking at, and what are the next things that are coming in. So then you could always suggest that these are the things that we can start.
For me, the most fascinating aspect of any transformation is the people transformation. And Manish, have there been any cultural changes in MG Motors once the SAP platform was implemented?
So as I said, we did not have any legacy packages, right? I mean, or baggage that we had to carry. Everything was from a clean slate. So ideas were welcome. However, one word that I said, or a couple of words I said in my previous conversation, right? Don't bring in the mentality that I used to do something in my ex company, I want to do it in MG. No, that will not work. Right? Come with a fresh mindset. Yes, if you would like to take that as a process, but come with some innovative idea as to how can that be simplified, how can that be integrated, and how well can we avoid a lot of bureaucracy. So that was one of the things we wanted to avoid. I mean, delegate a lot of things to a lot of people. at different levels, and we did not want any bureaucracy. So nothing should be coming up to us. You define, you write it down, and come back to us, and that's what we will give back to you. Okay, and till date we have been doing the same thing, right? So I mean, right from us as MGI. And again, the top level management, each functional head was very clear on what the directions would be. How has the project to go? How would the project continue to evolve and be deployed? And if there are issues, yeah, I mean, the project will have issues, right? How can we quickly go around solving that issues rather than beating each other up and saying that, hey, I'm not getting what I want, right? So that was the core fundamentals that we set up everything upon, Ashwin.
And to wrap up this discussion, Lalit, what have been Wurth's learnings from the MG Motor SAP implementation?
A lot of learnings from a personal level, also learning from Manish, and from an organizational level. I think so the entire team and the company has done a lot. One of the things I can touch upon what Manish was saying. So don't bring in baggages. So in other implementations, what we saw was everybody tries to get its own past experience into the processes, and that makes it more and more complex. And as you make the process more complex, everybody knows in the software side of it, then it is not a stable environment. I mean, you have to support it in a much better way, and you have to spend a lot of money supporting it. What happened with MG was the foundation was laid. They were our champions, or they were the bridge for us, where they said, okay, this is how it has to be, even though anybody says anything. So that is the biggest thing that we've learned. So, and we take that to other customers also. So if you want to do a successful implementation in a stipulated time, you need to define the processes upfront. You need to say, okay, this is the process, this is how I'm going to do. Okay, this is a certain level of customization that would happen, and that's it. And not take a lot of inputs from a lot of people. And the second thing, the biggest thing that makes a SAP successful is always once people start actually using it, when people start entering the data, and then you start getting the reports and other stuff. So if you have a culture and the discipline to do that within the organization, then you reap the benefits of the software itself. If you're not able to put in the right information in the software, then I don't think so any SAP implementation would be successful.
Fascinating. Now, the magic and the really immense capabilities of SAP at the hands of a partner who knows the product inside out, and a business that can harness the best of these technologies. Now, it's been, quite a journey in this conversation to understand what went behind the scenes working for an enterprise like MG Motor, and what it takes for a partner to be able to develop and customize a solution like SAP. Gentlemen, it's been a delight to have you here with us today. I wish you both the very best. Thank you so much for taking time out and spending time with us today. Thank you.